Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Rob Motive JT. So is the Jeep Gladiator actually fun to drive? You know, that's one of the things that I look for, and of course, the biggest thing for me is acceleration. Does it have it? Well, the Jeep Gladiator does. I mean, it's awesome. It takes off when you hit the gas, but there's more to just fun to drive than quick. I mean, I've been in some pretty fast cars in my life, everything from Corvette to McLaren. And while they are fun to drive, they're not the most comfortable things in the world, you know? And you can't see out of them either. They're fast, but I don't know if it's fun. It's exhilarating. How's that? The Jeep Gladiator is fun to drive, in my opinion, for a few reasons. One, I just mentioned the acceleration. When you hit the gas, it goes. You know, I'm big into acceleration, and if you want to improve it a little bit more, you can put a pedal commander on it. As far as other things, the handling. You know, the Jeep Gladiator really does handle like an SUV with the bed on the back, I think. It corners well, it's comfortable as far as the steering wheel, and I know that's a crazy thing, right? But have you ever been in a vehicle where the steering wheel is not comfortable, not good on the hands, not good feel, blocks everything off, it's too high, too low, you can't adjust it to where you want it to be? Never had that problem in the Gladiator, and I've spent a lot of seat time all at once in one. I drove it for 19 hours almost straight. I know, I'm crazy, right? And then the trip back another 19 hours. So I've had a lot of time, and never did my hands feel weird from holding onto the steering wheel. I know it's kind of a crazy thing to talk about, right? I mean, it's a steering wheel, but it does make a difference. The seating, that has to come into play as well. I mean, a vehicle can corner well, it can be quick from the accelerator, but how does it feel when you're in it? And you know, it's not a lot of fun if you're sitting in a seat and your rear end starts to ache a little bit, you know, because the seats aren't comfortable. Didn't have that problem in the Gladiator either. I'll go back to my 19-hour trek. It's one of the things that really most impressed me about the Gladiator was how comfortable it was making a trip like that. I thought for sure I'd be sitting there going, oh my God. You know, I had a Honda a while back. It was a Civic sedan, I think. And the seats felt like basically cloth over a little bit of foam and then a plywood board. Don't have that problem with the Gladiator. The bolstering is good, and the thigh support. Thigh support is something that I hear a lot of people complain about in other vehicles. Most recently, the Toyota Tacoma. You know, I discovered in the Tacoma, again, just recently, that I'm really not too comfortable in there. So we're going to do something about that over at the Rob Motive channel. I don't have that issue in the Gladiator. It is comfortable. Size-wise, another thing that kind of plays into whether a vehicle is fun to drive or not. You know, I've had big giant trucks. I've had Tundras, I've had Rams, I've had Fords. Back when I was in high school, I had a long bed, single cab Chevy that I drove. It wasn't mine, it was the parents', but I drove it to high school and stuff. That thing was not fun to drive because it was so huge. Trying to park that thing anywhere was a drag, and trying to get through tight spaces like city streets, back roads, things like that, you always had to be overly cognizant of where you were on the road, which you should pay attention to anyway. I mean, it's kind of important that you know where you're at. But with the Gladiator, it's just the right size. You know, it's big enough that you're not driving a subcompact Mini Cooper or something like that, but it's not so big that you have to really be aware of where you're at when you're in the tight spots. And it fits. Parking spaces, when people pull in next to you, this is a big pet peeve of mine. You can still leave enough room on each side that you don't have to be overly concerned. I mean, you still have to be concerned because it never fails that somebody with a 1972 Buick Skylark pulls into you with those big honking doors and leaves some decorations in the side of your pretty Gladiator. But still, there's enough room that you don't have to worry. Going back to the full-size trucks, they took up every bit of every parking space I ever pulled into. So I always park further away. Good exercise, but not something I really liked a whole lot, particularly if I had a handful of groceries or something. Looks-wise, let's face it, it's fun to drive cars that you think look good, right? And there's so many things that you can do. You can lift them, you can put different mods and bumpers and all kinds of stuff. I mean, you're almost unlimited as to what you can do with the Jeep Gladiator when it comes to aftermarket mods. And if you're like me, part of the fun of owning a vehicle are mods. I like to make them my own. So it's nice to know that there's tons of things out there that I can choose from. I'm always coming across something different that I hadn't done before, or seeing what other people have done on the road. There is a camaraderie with the Jeep Gladiator. You know, I would say 9 times out of 10, when I come across another one on the road, I get a wave, whether I initiate it or not. And people like to talk about it. I still have people come up to me at gas stations and ask about it. Most recently, I was in the Walmart's parking lot going to get my Gladiator, and somebody came up and asked me a few questions about it. How did I like it? How does it feel? How is it on gas? Which, by the way, is not very good. I'm in the mid-14s, 15 if I get lucky. And it's funny because whenever I mention anything about gas mileage, people always comment how they're getting 20s. I don't know how they do it, other than maybe they're doing a lot of freeway driving or something, because I simply can't get that doing this style of driving that I do now, which is primarily under 55, maybe 60 here or there, with just a little bit of freeway driving. When I say a little bit, I mean very little. Now, the other question I get once in a while on the channel that I'll address is, would I go to an electric? If they put out some sort of EV Gladiator, would I go to that? Not fully battery powered, because I just don't think we have the infrastructure for it. It's not that I'm wholly against it or anything. I mean, you know, you got to be willing to stay with the times and try new things. You know, over at my hybrid driven channel, you might be able to tell from the name, I have a Toyota Prius coming. It's a hybrid, which means it has a battery, right? But it still has that gas engine for, in the Prius, that's not the Prime, is going to be the primary drive. I mean, let's face it, the electric part of that car only goes about 4 or 6 miles, so maybe kicking around a parking lot or something. But I wouldn't do it in a Jeep Gladiator. I think that would take away from the fun factor, because then I'd have to be worried about charging all the time, except for a hybrid. Maybe a hybrid, and the only way I would do it in the Gladiator is if it somehow added to the acceleration, the response, if you will, if it made it even quicker than it is now. Anyway, I just wanted to get on here and talk about that a little bit. I think it's fun to drive. Right now, it's my primary daily driver when I'm running, doing errands and stuff. I take the Jeep Gladiator just because it is so fun to drive. Not because I don't like the other vehicles that I have. I love the Toyota Tacoma, my favorite truck of all time. But I always worry if I'm going somewhere and I have to park that something's going to happen to it. So I guess the Jeep Gladiator is the brute for me. Leave a comment. Let me know. If you've got a Jeep Gladiator, do you find it fun to drive? I'd be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.